going to bring the redistricting board meeting to session. I'm Rich Johnson, the chair. We're going to do a roll call. We'll start from my right, or my left.
Matt Bergen.
Pat Richardson.
Paul Thompson.
You already did me, so.
Lance Johnson.
Okay, we got roll call. We're going to do the agenda next. If you looked at the agenda, they did add Paul's version 3, so he has version 2 and 3 in there now. Before they did not, so they do have it now. So we're going to go over the maps. The other thing, we're going to talk to the Board of Elections. We have some final questions. IT will be doing his thing with the maps that we pull them up. I'll give some numbers on the current maps, how they are with the adjustments with the borders that we found that were in error. So if anyone, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as stated?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. No nays. The ayes have it. Motion carries. The minutes, I looked at them. They look fine. The content's good. Any questions from the board on the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes of October 6, 2021 as presented.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Minutes are good. So we got lots of things to talk about before we vote. We're going to vote on a map today. Hopefully, we're going to pin down one map. I think we will. I'm hoping, because I want to get home and go eat dinner. Board of Elections, we want to have like final questions for you on, might as well approach, and I'll go through what I have, and if I didn't cover anything, I guess the other board members will chime in. So one of the concerns is with the new maps, how it impacts the people. We have, Eric's been running numbers every time we do a map, how many people are actually impacted by the map. So, and we've had some of these questions in the past. We just want to have a final, before we do a vote, make sure we know what we're doing. So the maps, they don't change where people vote. It's where you people decide that where they vote. So it's not going to inconvenience them on to where they're going to vote. And that's correct. So only the Board of Elections does that. So the other impact would be if you plan to run for an office, you have to reside in that new mapping. If anything, that's the area you're going to be representing. So the impact to the voters, yes, you would have a different representative if you change the map. So, and that's really not a big deal. I've had to deal with, I've talked to my county commissioners, and actually they're all there to help you, not just the one that represents you. So for the people that are listening online, just because your representative may change, you can talk to all of them, even the county commissioner, president. They're all there to support you because you voted for them. That's their job. And if they don't do their job, you vote them out. So that was pretty much my questions for at least impact. I guess once we find a final map and we vote upon it, all those people impacted, I guess you're going to have to mail them to notify them what district they are now in.
Yes, they'll all be sent new voter registration ID cards with their new representation listed.
Okay, that sounds good. Board members, any other questions for the Board of Elections on the impact to the new maps? I don't know if I missed anything.
No.
Everybody's good? I guess we're good.
Okay.
I guess you can go home and go eat.
Thank you.
Hopefully you don't have to drive far.
Not too far. So that was the Board of Elections. We had some final questions. I want to go over each other's maps, at least the percentages, so that everyone knows before we vote what they are. So I'll start with, to my left, Matt. Your map didn't change from the last meeting, correct?
Correct.
So you're still version 2.
B2.
So for total population, your percentage is from 0.45 to 0.93. Greater than 18, 0.44 to 5.7. Now we have greater than 18. It's nice to look at, and but it's there. As for voters, you're 0.13 to 5.3%. Okay, so that's your map. Let's bring up Pat's map next. Okay, so Pat's map, total pop, population for the balancing. We're looking at the 10% for each adjacent district. She's 0.2 to 8.7% for population. For greater than 18, it's 3.29 to 7.66%. For voters, it's 5.65 to 17.63. So, okay, so that's the voters. Next, let's bring up my map. Eric, you're so good at this.
A lot of practice.
Just don't, oh, you got the right Johnson too, good. So my map for population was 0.06 for population 2, 3.39%. Greater than 18 was 0.43 to 5.5%. For voters, I was 3.2 to 6.43%. Okay, let's go to Paul. You want to do version 3, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we're doing version 3 is what he's presenting tonight for a vote. So for Paul, okay, you got Paul's version 3, good. So for population, he's 0.23 to 0.88. For greater than 18, it's 1.95 to 5.1. For voters, it is 0.78 to 8.17. Okay, next is Lance. Okay, Lance's numbers for population is 0.8 to 9.05. For greater than 18, it's 1.94 to 7.07%. For voters, it's 2.74, 11.79. So that's the, for each person's map. So what I'm thinking of doing, at least for a vote, I even have a little, you guys can count, I can count too. I guess we'll start from my left. We'll start with Matt's map. If you can bring Matt's map up. All right, so there's Matt's map. It's going to be nice saying that a lot. So I guess we'll just do a sign of hands. Everyone that likes, of course, Matt's going to vote for his map. That's fine. You can all vote for your own map. That's fine. But everyone that likes Matt's map, just raise a hand. You like it or not? So,
Are you already raising your hand?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess,
Do I only get one vote?
yeah.
I don't want to vote for your map.
I
You
was,
don't have to vote. Yeah,
Pretty proud of my map.
I mean,
I just-
either you, we know people are going to vote for the map. So the worst case, you get a 1. So right now you got 3 points. So I got to write this down. So map.
I guess, yeah, I'm trying to understand how we're scoring this because we haven't actually discussed this yet.
I mean, we all looked at all the statistics, all the numbers, the percentages. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have a different flavor on what we like. I mean, I can talk about Matt's map is very similar to my map. And what I like about that is, one, District 4, was never taken care of for the last 3 decades. And it's basically got to a point where you have, 7,641 people, excess of the average. And now, not only, well, I did it too, we zeroed it down, balanced actually all districts, but now District 4 bumps up against 3. So hopefully 10 years from now, if 4 is going to keep growing, that's evident. If you ever drive around, Great Mills area or whatever, there's always building there. So at least maybe 10 years from now, the next board will have, in addition, District 3 to be able to offset any, increases of population of District 4. So, I mean, you want to talk about maps, that was my input for myself because it's very similar to mine. So
I guess what I meant by scoring was how we were going to do the voting.
we're just going to vote yes or no if we like it or not.
Okay, but then so we could have 3 maps with the same votes or 4 maps with this, what's our tie-breaking? How do we do it if we have multiple maps with the same number of votes?
Well, we're going to see. We're going to vote, and then we'll have to figure that out. Okay?
Okay.
So let's go with Pat's map next.
Rich, I would like to withdraw my map. Once I saw Paul's version 3, He and I did have a similar approach, and in his version 3, I feel like he greatly improved upon what I had. The numbers are much better. They're well beyond the 10%. He did look at the natural boundaries where possible. There are a few exceptions, but I think some of them are necessary in order to get the population balance. And I still do have some concern about, I'm not going to use the word impact because I think maybe that is confusing, but I'm looking at minimal change, meet the charge with minimal change. And in his version 3, the number of individuals who will change commissioner district would be 18% of the total population.
Okay, so
Without my map included.
you're going to pull your map, you're not going to have your map as part of this
Correct.
selection, so I will note that. Okay, so we're going to remove Pat's map. So my map is next. I'll vote for my map. So Matt, let's all vote for hands. So I'm going to vote for my map regardless. So everybody likes my map. You raise your hand, I got my hand, and it's not going to hurt me if you don't vote for me. So I got me and Lance likes my map, so that's okay. All right, Paul version 3. Okay, Paul's got his, and we got Pat voting for Paul. Okay. Am I getting, yeah, there you go, you're quick. Lance's map next.
I'd rather submit version 1 than 2 because I liked my numbers before, even though the only thing that changed from version 1 to 2 is I really didn't make the change. It was just that border area that we found out that actually was part of 4 before. But I did all my calculations number-wise to get everything as even as I could based upon that being part of 1. So that's why I just wanted to go back to version 1 on mine.
So version 1. Okay. So you got his other numbers on there? You don't? Oh,
No, the population numbers I have are off of the version 2.
Okay.
So
Sorry.
I didn't have a chance to change that in the map. But you can take take the version 2 numbers and
I was going to bring my laptop so I could look those, but I
put
forgot to bring my laptop.
2,800. So the only difference between these numbers, version 2, and the numbers for version 1 would
It was
be,
basically the 1 and 4 we're going to,
yeah, increase 1 by 2,800 and decrease 4 by 2,800, and that's your numbers.
So basically 4 was going to have a little bit less than 1, but I think my rationale was that the growth in 4 is going to catch up within about a year or two with the numbers that were kind of grabbed from this area that went to number 1. So that's why I kind of like that one better.
okay, version 1. So you're going to vote for your map. That's going to happen. So give you one. So everyone that likes Lance's map, raise their hand. Okay, that's it. So it looks like Matt, we're going with your map. You got 3 points. So I guess next, let's bring up Matt's map. The other thing is, if anyone had any questions to his map or desires, I mean, that was one of the things we were going to do, put our input. I mean, for me, it's very similar to my map. I'm fine with it. It does. The only thing that I thought, and Matt, you can think about this too, is the Chestnut Hills, Chestnut Ridge. You pushed it all the way into 2. I was leaving mine to 1. So either or, it keeps the community together. So it's really not a big deal, but that was only my little thing.
Understood.
Anyway, that was my 2 cents. So anybody else have any other questions for Matt's map?
I'm just going to reiterate my concerns that by moving up through Oakville, I just think doesn't make as much sense as what I saw on Paul's map, version 3.
In what way? Because we're following boundaries.
I actually drove that distance to get a better feel for it. And to me, it just appears to be too great a distance, traveling through many different communities. And I don't think we need to be concerned with what's going to happen in 10 years. I think when the next redistricting committee is formed, based on the 2030 census, they're going to have to do what we did. They're going to have to look at what their scenarios are, what tools they have available to them, and make their decisions. So I was not influenced by what may happen in the future. I stayed with what the current situation is, where we have actual data. And to me, that I didn't see a real justification for making them connected, because that's something that can be decided on by the next group in 2031.
Okay, you mentioned that it's so huge and you drove it. I mean, look at District 1. I mean, I live in District 1, I live in Valley Lee, and, I have property down the ridge that I hunt on, and I travel that, and that's like 20 miles one way. And you go to Point Lookout, it's even just around the corner. I mean, whether it's that or District 1, and District 1 has been around in that configuration for over 30 years, and people are different. You got people in Lexington Park and Point Lookout, they're quite different. But it's been like that for over 3 decades. So doing what we did over here is no different.
I would say the difference is that in that case, the old style, it couldn't be helped. This is we're doing this ourselves for no real purpose.
What do you mean, no real purpose?
I mean, you can easily find the population in District 2. I mean, the population in District 4 is taken from District 2 elsewhere. In the other areas of District 2 can be given back to 4 to swap that back out. We could swap parts of Wildwood back in. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, let's go back to my map, but, is anyone open to making an adjustment like that where we move maybe the one or two of the precincts, the Wildwood precincts, back into this map, and then see where that puts us as far as the line for how District 4 goes into District 2.
I did the similar thing that Matt did, and that wasn't like I was on the phone with Matt saying, hey, this is what I'm doing. I was doing it by myself. And that's one of the things we looked at, not just borders, but keeping communities together, and that's all Wildwood. So we kept all Wildwood together, even the airport too. So, I mean, we didn't vote on the guidelines, but we did follow them. And so we have borders, we have communities together, and we actually got really close to zero for at least for population balance. I mean, like I said, for 30 years, the last 3 boards did little to nothing on this. Lexington Park, Great Mills grew to over 7,641, and we have to fix it. And even, the other districts were out of whack too for the original too. So it had to be done.
I mean, I think from a distance perspective, you go to Coles Point all the way to Golden Beach, that's pretty much the distance greater than what we're doing with 4 or what's in 1 currently.
Yeah, look at 1, you go all the way there to down Point Lookout.
Yeah.
I mean, just from Valley Lee, it's a 20-mile ride to where I go for hunting. So that's a little bit, it's pretty close to Point Lookout down the road.
So thought process, 2 things. One, didn't take distance travel from one extent to the other into consideration. I just personally didn't think it was impactful. And 2, the objective is today is to come up with a 90% solution so as to bring it to the community and allow them to bring their input. If we present this map and nobody has any concern, should folks show up, and I urge them to, but if nobody expresses any concern with a broader representation of community type in District 4, then even though, it's part of, our
Right.
charge to voice our concerns, but would you say that you are open to having those concerns alleviated in the event that the public takes no issue with this version? And then should they take notable issue and justifiable issue, and maybe they bring up something we have not brought into consideration, that's why it's simply a 90% solution, and we take the public's input and make the appropriate changes to be more reflective based off
That's
that
why we
opportunity.
got the community next. We got each district, we have to discuss this map and see how they like it or don't like it.
I would prefer that we try to make some adjustments now as a board, as a redistricting board, only because no one will know, even though they'll get a notice of a public hearing, no one will really know who's being affected until later when they receive their new voter ID cards.
I'm fine with this map, so I have no problem with the map. So that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I do a lot of crabbing. I'm on the water a lot, fishing and stuff like that. And I know that the communities all the way up into 3, all the way down that whole side of route, going all the way down to Lexington Park, those are very like-minded communities as far as being represented. So even if eventually that 4 goes all the way up into 3, like I said, you have like-minded communities living on the water or near the water that their representative would be more suitable for them, So I don't see anything wrong with this map per se, because like my interest in 3 up in Golden Beach is much different than the people down at Coles Point on the Potomac River. So I'm in a one district that it's totally opposite from one to the other. So currently today, and it's been like that forever. So I don't have a problem with moving forward with a change that might eventually, in 20 years, take part of 3 and put it into 4.
Right. So I'm fine with it. Lance is fine with it. I motion that we go with this map for the upcoming, each district we have to talk to.
Before, just
I
before.
do have something I'd like to say before a motion is made.
But
Just to point out on this map, one of your goals was not to cut a community specifically in half, and there is one small community I noticed here between 1 and 4. I don't know if this was your intention or not, to leave them out, to put.
Are you able to make a real-time,
I
by
am.
chance?
I do
just to
have your
see-
version up as a real-time editable.
Could you see the impact of having?
And
looks
what I
like
was going to,
4?
so what I was going to suggest, this is about 121 people. Over here, you have 166 in this block that you added on just
do a
outside
spot?
the current district line. That would, if this block moved back from 4 to 1 and that neighborhood moved from 1 into 4, it would be a net of only 40 people and would keep your
Yeah,
population.
I'm not opposed to that at all, and actually, I appreciate you catching that.
Yeah, I can, like I said, this is an editable version. We can see what the results would be. But, so. That has effectively no difference on your numbers. I think it's a difference of 40 people. And keeps the communities
Right.
together.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Look pretty flat. Do you see any other ones like that, Eric?
That's the only one I spotted. So,
I mean, that doesn't bother you, Matt, right? So
No, I mean,
it was a minor change, so,
perfect is the objective.
okay.
And I guess, I mean, I've edited this so many times now, I've realized there's a few very small population blocks in here that can easily be missed. I assume that at some point we'll do, I mean, I don't know if we've done the analysis, make sure you didn't miss one.
So I did when I initially drafted this, the afternoon, evening before, and then morning of, I came here and I did the full zoom in to
Okay.
see if I couldn't find one jump out. I did that for all of our maps to this morning, just in case one was selected for that very purpose.
Okay.
Because you know, when you zoom in, you do have these, all of a sudden you see like this
Right.
green dot in the
Yeah.
middle and a sea of red, and like, oops, forgot someone.
I think there were spots along the roads too that would be, they would say it was in one district or
Absolutely,
another,
yeah.
and or what, a precinct if you were moving precinct. Yeah, it's just a little confusing.
So
and in my software, I can spot those little things much easier, and certainly, before anything got approved or presented to the commissioners, we can make sure that everything's very clean and
Yeah, I guess, I know I brought it up, but I guess in general, the numbers were always very small, like it was in single digits of people in those regions. It just, I just more mean in case someone were to go look at the map and see these, they're just accidents. They're not, it's not on purpose that
No,
that's
understood.
occurred in any of the maps, yeah.
or you're one of those 9 people that
Right.
you're in District 2, but every neighbor for 30 miles is in District 3.
yeah, we can make sure that doesn't happen before
Absolutely.
before anything is permanently enacted.
Okay, any other changes people are thinking about? So we did that one community with Eric's insight, good. We got to have something to present to the people coming up in the next, 3 weeks, I think? It's coming up from today, 3 weeks. So everyone would like to, I'm okay with this map.
I can get behind it.
Okay. Lance, you good?
Yep.
Okay. Paul and Pat?
No.
Okay. Well, you have a right to say yes or no. That's what your right is. So I motion that we present this map to the people and we get some input from them in case we have to modify
Rich.
things. Uh-oh.
Chairs normally don't make motions.
Do I hear a motion? I'm going to hear a motion.
Oh, I thought you said you were making a motion.
I was trying to get, it's like herding cats, so I'm trying to get them going here. So do I hear a motion to accept this map and present it to the people for the following, each district that we're going to brief it in?
I'll motion to bring this to the public with the understanding that this is not our final version. It's just a 90% solution that allows the public to provide insight and input as they desire.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay.
2 nays, okay. The ayes have it, motion carries. So we did our objective. Do I hear a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Meeting's over.